son who is so interested in making videos. He likes to do all this, and it takes place in the mid-'80s, and the costumes are ridiculous and outrageous. But to me, the most marvelous character of the show is the mother, Beverly. And she's so over the top. But over the top in the most loving way. She adores her children, and she says over and over, "Oh, they're my life!" And she is so embarrassing. I mean, every time she does something, that I am transported back to the 80s or the early 90s, and I'm thinking of my own parents. Oh, she's just so embarrassing. But she does to these kids, and she'll come up, "Oh, my little sweet Smokey Wook," and she'll say this, and there are other kids there in front of everybody. But her love is overflowing and exuberant, and, there's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about her love. Well, and our gospel sort of reminds me of this, or rather the other reminds me, I don't know which reminds me of who, but it's all in there. Only a few days earlier, Jesus has been able to raise Lazarus from the dead. His corpse was stinking in a tomb, and genuinely stinking. I mean, that's the complaint that Mary and Martha, they say, whoa, don't open it, Jesus. He's been in there a couple of days. It's going to be terrible. And here he is, reclining at the table with Jesus. Martha, as usual, serving, because that's what Martha does. And then we have Mary, who is always a character throughout the gospel. We see her a lot, there's that kind of Martha and Mary, Martha and Mary. But she's gone out, and she's purchased spikenard, which is an incredibly expensive oil. You have to get it from India. They get it from India. They process it. Now, this is the ancient world doing this. Bear this in mind. They send it to Egypt. They put it in beautiful alabaster jars. You purchase it. It costs about as much as a year's wages for someone who's very, very poor. And she comes in, and she does something absolutely outrageous. Now, oftentimes scholars really like to skirt past a lot of implications in this gospel, and there are. I don't know about you, there's something a little uncomfortable about it. She is dumping oil on a man's feet and wiping it with her hair. That's weird. I'm just going to say it. It is evocative. Dare I say it, a little sensual. But the message is an exuberant and passionate love. She loves him. She is so happy and so grateful. She just almost can't help herself. It's over the top. And the perfume is so strong, the fragrance is filling the room. I mean, you hear that. That's the writing of John. But I don't know about you, but I can almost smell it. That cloying smell of perfume. And for one of them, it's just a little too much. Now, it says that Judas says it because, he wants to steal the money. But I think it is a bit of an uncomfortable spectacle that she has made of herself. And you got to leave it to someone as sensible as Judas to point it out. He's sophisticated and he is smart. smart he is. So smart, he's managed to figure out a good way to make a little money. Figures out how to get off this sinking ship before he too gets himself in trouble. And so he has to point out, you could have used that money for the poor. I've been listening to Jesus. I think he should be doing that. It smacks of smug. It's sophisticated. He's right. The poor probably need it. But I'm not sure that it's actually coming out of a place of exuberant love. And Jesus doesn't humiliate Judas or doesn't slap him down, but rather just gently points out, you will always keep the poor with you. You will always have the poor to take care of. Yeah. But her actions do not exclude the poor, do they? What she's done a kindness. Something kind, exuberant, sweet, joyful. It was a good thing. And the interesting thing about that exuberant love, that over-the-top joy, strangely enough, does not end up excluding the possibility for charity. Think about that. The fact sometimes that we have beautiful buildings, soaring cathedrals, glorious music, does not mean that we can't also at the same time care for the poor. Not at all. In fact, it's an outpouring and an abundance. That love is so full and fragrant, it fills the air. What Mary does is a small thing in comparison to the love that the Creator of the universe shows for us. An exuberant, over-the-top display of affection. Just look around you what he has done. The birds and the air and flowers. What's the point of flowers? That just seems really unnecessary, don't you think? A little over the top, a little flashy maybe? Birds of different color. Really? Do they all need to be different colors? I mean, really? Rainbows? Oh, come on. And yet that most fragrant offering, a willingness to endure the agony and shame of the cross, to die, a sacrifice for us. Exuberant and over the top, and absolutely necessary. This is one of those wonderful Gospels. Makes me think of that Beverly. Such love and joy for her children. And that is God's love and joy for us. And will be played out on that hardwood